Hello, for this video going over the Getting Started page, we will locate the U.S. Census website and American Fact Finder resource. We will construct searches in census resources to find current population demographics for a culturally diverse population as well as the United States. We will classify U.S. Census data to appropriate parameters, and we will create proper citations of U.S. Census data. Let's take a look now at this page. We begin by listing major organizations, and there's two key ones that you'll use throughout all your research. The very first one listed is Census.gov American Fact Finder, and the second one is the National Center for Health Statistics. Uh, the U.S. Census Bureau website has a really large wealth of information. This is going to be covering more of your demographic information on any topic imaginable. The American Fact Finder is a resource within this website that helps you search for and find information, especially if you're looking by a geographic subset. It's especially helpful. You can also use it as well if you are looking for a culturally diverse population and you want to break items down. I really find that this is so much easier than trying to go to census.gov and do some searches, or start a Google search on information and try to find information. And the government statistical information just isn't easy to get to through an open web search. So let's go ahead and click on this search here. Click on this site. You'll see here it begins with there's a search box here in the middle underneath community facts. And here you can enter a state, county, city, town, or zip code. You can also type in the words United States and pull up a result as well. I want to show that for your first example here. As you type in United States, you'll see current population of the country here in the middle, and you'll see information here on the side. The way this site is set up, it's going to have your categories on the left-hand side. For each category, there's a primary statistic that they will pull. They'll have the source for that, and then below that will be various tables of information following that. The key thing in citing these resources and finding these resources is finding where they're actually at, what statistical source this comes from. It's not as simple as saying it comes from American Fact Finder for this demographic number. This actually comes from the Census 2010 demographic profile. And so you'll have to think through that in those ways. Anytime you want to change your search up here, you can simply change it in this search box. I'm going to do a search for a locale. You can see here if I search Elkhart, it'll give me a couple options. You want to make sure you find your right one. So there's Elkhart County, Indiana, the Elkhart the city, and then there's also an Elkhart in Iowa. And I want to point out examples for Elkhart County, Indiana. And this will change these numbers to that local area. You can always change that back and forth as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's information on the left-hand side for your categories, and then there's tables below. So if you look at, I want to highlight a few pieces here. And I used the demographic grid just as a kind of a starting point to find maybe pieces you want to look for, numbers you want to look for. But for overall population, it's listed here, and then there's the source, demographic profile. And these numbers are always listed here below in various tables. Let's click on the one that says General Population and Housing Characteristics. And when you click on this, it's going to break down additional information. You can see we already had the overall population, and you can see that here. It will break this down by age groups, by male and female as well. And then below this will be breaking this down by race. So you can see white, black, and the other categories the census uses. and as well as breaking it down between Hispanic or Latino and Hispanic or Latino in race. And this one would maybe more helpful there. Um, at the end of each table, as you go to the bottom, they'll have the information about this. So you can see this comes, the source here is from the U.S. Census Bureau, the 2010 census. That's helpful for when you're citing the information. And then the title of the actual table is here at the top. It is the this one I highlighted, Profile of General Population and Housing Characteristics 2010 Demographic Profile Data. And you can always click on this little circle eye and it will give you information about what that table is. Other pieces that may stand out, that was population is going to give you your overall information, and that's going to break down a lot of by age, by race, by ethnicity, even includes the housing. To break down other pieces, let's look at income. I find income and poverty tables can be helpful. So here you can see the median household income and then the source for this. Let's look at this source here. This one says this is 2012 to 2016 American Community Survey 5-year estimates. Watch that keyword estimates. If you need a hard, firm number, the census that happens every 10 years is going to give you the most exact number because census staff are knocking on each door, talking to as many individuals as possible, while the estimates are going to be more, as you hear, estimates, looking at larger trends and trying to give some sort of educated guess to that. Also, make sure to look here if you see the tables. There's a 2016 American Community Survey, and then you don't see Census 2010, but Census 2000. And that is information that is almost 20 years old. So just to put that into consideration as well, to look at recency of your information as well. So with any of these information, you can see selected economic characteristics. Let's just look on the one here for the community survey. It's going to be another table here. You can scroll down to your information and you can see the information that's available there. This is a large overview of this resource. There's not much more I want to say with this except for spend some time going through each piece to see what is here. You can also, if you are looking at the United States, if you have a group that isn't, you're looking so much at a locale, but you're looking at a particular type of demographic, you can always look at that. You can always simply do that search for United States, and then you can find that demographic for that large, for that group. So if instead you wanted to look at Latinos nationwide, you can find that information, and you can see both the number, a percentage, and you can look at that information and look at that as well to compile that. These other sources will go more in depth into the other pages, especially the NCHS. That's going to be in direct links in other pages as well. I would say to point out for your citation in this last piece here, anytime you cite the census information, the author is U.S. Census Bureau. You put the year the data was published. So if it's 2010 census, you put that, or if it's a community survey, you put that year. Put the name of the report that we found italicized, and then retrieved from, and then the URL at the very top of the page.